If you could give one super critical piece of advice to someone who's going to launch their first PPC campaign, what would it be?
I like that one.
Hmm.
Uh,
I figured you would.
yeah, I think the super critical piece of advice I would give is have the expectation going in that whatever it is that you end up targeting, any keywords that you have, anything like that, will be wildly different a week or a month from when you first started it. Going off of like relevancy, I have worked with so many people who think they understand PPC and think it to the extent of like, this is my product. I have Mentos mints, and therefore I'm going against the keyword Mentos mints. And so I should do amazing, right? No, that's not really how advertising works at the end of the day, unfortunately, with targeting. And a lot of people fall into the trap of basically exact match top of search, and it just eats away at their entire ad budget. And if you are a product or just a seller in general that has, is new, you don't have any reputation whatsoever, you don't have reviews, you are, even if you're decently priced, even if you have a good listing, doesn't mean you're going to get immediate conversions. And so I think that's the biggest piece of advice is that like your targeting when you very first start is going to look wildly different, and you need to just actually optimize and actually keep an eye on it and not just sit there and say, oh, let it run its course, it'll get better, because it won't. You have to actually work towards advertising. It's not a set and forget, it's a
Hmm.
constant battle upwards.
I like that. Constant battle upwards. That's a good way to frame it. Anyone else have any thoughts on how you do things differently in Q4 versus the rest of the year?
I just think that around any kind of tentpole events or any kind of events where people are actually looking to Amazon to give them a good deal, it just, your strategy needs to be a little bit different for the expectation handling of deal day kind of things. Like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, especially, people are looking for those red badges. And if, let's say, you're not participating in those events and you just want to kind of cruise along under the radar, not really wanting to tap into that increased traffic that's coming, I guess at that point, it's probably best to know that and not go aggressive, because CPCs are elevated throughout that time, and they'll go on elevated toward throughout the end of the rest of the year. So I think for us it's mostly the decision of, okay, are our clients actually participating in tentpole events or not, and if they are, then we definitely advertise for them. But if they aren't, we actually turn off ads for especially those days when we know that if they have no deal, they have no chance of converting efficiently, and so we just like protect their ad spend, and not even run ads during that time. So that's one different thing that we do. But let's say you have a seasonal product and you are participating in some form or the other, and if it is something like that goes into a stocking stuffer or whatever, then by all means, have your expectations about the elevated CPCs, but run and test whatever works for your brand. Gift keywords and things like that become, again, pretty expensive. You would want to look at top search terms from brand analytics to try and figure out what the search volume, etc., looks like to go after the most reasonable ones. We have a few clients that have like Q4 products, and when that happens, all the gift keywords suddenly during this time actually become quite expensive. So definitely do your math when it comes to going after keywords. You don't want to boil the ocean and try to go after every one of them. Be strategic is what I would say.
How do you decide how relevant a keyword is? Mina, I'll let you jump on that one first.
I don't. I think too many people try to figure out and anticipate what's going to happen. I think you have two options. Option number one, run auto broaden phrase of the main keywords, and then let the, search term report guide you and give you more keywords to work off of. Or do your keyword research, data dive, jungle scout, helium 10, whatever, and start testing those. At the end of the day, you need to buy the data. I learned this from Ritu, is I wait until I spend a certain amount of dollars on a keyword, and then I make a decision, and I have to buy that data. Like, you have to spend the money, get the data. It says, hey, I have a $30 product. I spent $15 on it. It made a sale, didn't make a sale. And then I can make a decision and say, okay, cool. This keyword is worth keeping or not worth keeping. There's zero chance you're going to anticipate, because not only is it Amazon's relevance, it's also human behavior, which none of us can also predict. That's why it's just, put your best foot forward, whether it's auto and broad and phrase campaigns, or, some keyword research, and, put that in multiple match types, and then let the data dictate what you do with the keywords.
Such a good point. Let people vote with their wallets and get the data. So, Elizabeth, what are your thoughts on what is working today?
So there was old school strategy when cost per clicks were lower was definitely to, kind of start in broad, allow the algorithm to feel it out, and then segment down from there. Given the new like third-party tools emerging, as well as Amazon's own giving us access to more data, Product Opportunity Explorer is fascinating, brand analytics, etc., and as well as some tools who have done some really good work. I mean, Helium 10, Jungle Scout have always been around. Data Dive's a really good, strong one. It's becoming easier and easier for those with less experience in, advertising to pick better beginning targets. The algorithm sort of shifts away from the control. I still find that the more specific you can get, the more intentional you can get with your targeting, the better your performance will be. And I always find that like this has been good practice since the dawn of the beginning versus now. A couple things have changed. One, cost per clicks are a lot higher than they used to be. So your cost of testing is extremely elevated. Where, I mean, you used to be able to get 2-cent clicks. I would kill for 2-cent clicks. It's not going to happen. And then also just the wealth of data available now makes it a lot easier, again, if you can understand the data and how to read it, to focus on the things that matter to your brand, and then also becomes more imperative as costs rise.
What's the most valuable change you've made in your campaign strategy in the past few months? So anything you guys are doing differently that seems to be working, which was kind of the original question, but kind of a different spin on it.
Audience targeting.
There you go. Audience targeting. That's a good one. Yeah. AMC audience targeting stuff. Anybody else?
Business to business, like a lot of B2B ads are doing quite well. So if your product is good for businesses, adding that has been quite good. I mean, similar to audiences, right? Some people have seen really good results with audiences. We've seen really good results with B2B.
Noah, when you do the market research, where are you asking it to pull? Like, are you feeding it like Reddit threads? Are you feeding it like TikTok trend? Like how are you having it do market research?
Yeah, usually I'll have it stay away from anything along Reddit threads or anything like that, or any social. So I actually most of the time want to get direct just competitor data, so directly from actual competitor sites. So we've been using it pretty often and pretty well as far as a use case for like direct to consumer versus Amazon. One of the hardest things I think when it comes for just Amazon sellers right now is the fact that all AI can't actually crawl Amazon sites because Amazon doesn't want it to, right? And now Amazon is also suing Perplexity, so I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And so a lot of times we're using it to get a general idea of scope of who are the biggest players in the market, as well as who are newer players in the market. So there's like a lot of softwares that have kind of done that newer player aspect, like Charm.io is one in the past. And so Perplexity, though, you can actually, if you have a Charm account, connect in your Charm data directly into Perplexity, which we've done in a couple of use cases. It works fairly well to understand just like each one of the different categories and markets.